When my sister Cordelia handed me a folder at our family Christmas dinner and said, "Here's everything you need for the kids," I thought she was joking. Then I saw the plane tickets dated for the next morning, December 26th, 6 a.m. departure to Aspen. My wine glass stopped halfway to my lips. "What is this?" I asked, though somewhere in my gut I already knew. "The kids' schedules, medical info, everything you'll need," she said, that bright smile plastered across her face like armor. "Donovan and I leave tomorrow morning for 10 days. The dining room suddenly felt too small. My mother Vivian was carefully arranging dessert plates, deliberately not looking at me. My father Chester had developed a sudden fascination with his coffee cup. Even my brother-in-law Donovan, usually glued to his phone, was watching me with an expression I'd never seen before. Anticipation? Challenge? It was like they'd all been holding their breath, waiting for this moment. "I'm Felicity, by the way," I wanted to say to the stranger my sister had apparently become. 28 years old, single, working as a freelance graphic designer from my apartment downtown. The reliable one, the one without kids. The one who obviously had nothing better to do than drop everything at a moment's notice. My sister Cordelia stood there in her designer dress, looking every inch the successful real estate agent she'd become at 34. Married to Donovan, the investment banker, mother to 3 beautiful children who were currently in the living room playing with their new Christmas Eve gifts. 9-year-old Jasmine with her father's sharp intelligence, 7-year-old Rowan who inherited Cordelia's dramatic flair, and baby Sage, just 18 months old, still toddling around on unsteady legs. "You're not serious," I said, setting down my glass with a click that echoed in the silence. "Of course I'm serious. Why wouldn't I be?" Cordelia tilted her head, genuinely seeming confused by my reaction. "It's all arranged. The kids are already packed." "Packed?" My voice rose an octave. "You packed their bags before asking me?" "I'm not asking," she said, and there it was. That tone. The same one she'd used when we were kids and she'd volunteer me to help with her school projects, her fundraisers, her everything. "I'm telling you the plan. This retreat is crucial for Donovan's career. Do you know how hard it was to get invited? The Henderson Group personally requested us." Donovan finally spoke, his voice carrying that dismissive edge I'd grown to despise. "It's a $15,000 investment in our future. These connections could mean millions in new business." "That's wonderful for you," I said slowly, trying to keep my voice level. "But I don't remember agreeing to watch 3 children for 10 days. "Family helps family," Cordelia said, as if reciting scripture. "Besides, you work from home. You can do your little design projects while they're at school. Little design projects." The words stung more than they should have. My little design projects had just landed me a contract with a major tech startup. My little design projects paid my rent, my bills, and let me save for the future. But in Cordelia's world, anything that didn't involve a corner office and a 6-figure salary was just playing around. The folder sat on the table between us like a gauntlet thrown down. I could see the laminated pages through the clear cover. Color-coded schedules, emergency contact lists, a sticky note on top with "Jasmine's EpiPen, always carry" written in red marker. This wasn't a request. It was an ambush, served with Christmas dinner and a side of family guilt. I'd always been the available one in the family. While Cordelia built her empire of perfect suburban life, I worked freelance from my 1-bedroom apartment. Every family gathering, she'd make little comments that cut deeper than she probably realized. "Must be nice having so much free time," she'd say while scrolling through her phone between real estate calls. Or, my personal favorite, "When you have kids, you'll understand being busy." The thing is, I loved my life. I'd built something real from nothing. My graphic design business started with one client 3 years ago, and now I had a waiting list. I worked 60-hour weeks sometimes, but they were my hours, my choices. I could take a random Tuesday off to go hiking, then work until midnight on Saturday. That flexibility wasn't laziness, it was freedom I'd earned. That Christmas Eve started normally. I arrived at our parents' house in Westchester at 4 p.m. sharp, carrying homemade cookies that had taken me half the night to decorate. Each one had a family member's name in perfect icing script. I'd even made special ones for the kids with their favorite characters. Jasmine got unicorns, Rowan got dinosaurs, and baby Sage got simple stars she could grip without making too much of a mess. "Felicity's here," Mom called out, taking the cookie tray from me with genuine delight. "Oh, honey, these are beautiful. You didn't have to go to such trouble." "It's Christmas, Mom." "Of course I did." Dad wrapped me in one of his bear hugs, smelling like aftershave and the pipe tobacco he claimed he'd quit. The house was warm and glowing, decorated exactly as it had been every year since childhood. The same angel on top of the tree, the same stockings hung by the fireplace, even the same cinnamon candle that Cordelia had made in third-grade art class. The kids rushed me the moment I sat down. Jasmine showed me her new art set, carefully explaining each brush and paint color. Rowan demonstrated his remote control car, making it do tricks around the coffee table. Baby Sage just wanted to be held, reaching up with sticky hands that somehow already had chocolate on them. "Where did you get chocolate?" I laughed, scooping her up. She giggled and pointed at Grandpa, who winked and pretended to know nothing about it. This was why I loved Christmas, these moments. The chaos and warmth and love all mixed together like Mom's special hot chocolate that had way too much whipped cream and just enough peppermint schnapps for the adults. Cordelia swept in 40 minutes late naturally. The door burst open with dramatic flair, cold air rushing in along with her presence. Designer bags in both hands, hair still perfect despite the wind outside. Donovan trailing behind her while conducting what sounded like a very important phone call about market projections. Sorry, she announced to the room, though she didn't sound sorry at all. Traffic was insane. Some people have no idea how to drive in winter. She air-kissed Mom, waved at Dad, and barely glanced at the kids before her eyes landed on me. Felicity, perfect timing. You're exactly who I need to see. Hi to you too, I said, adjusting Sage on my hip. Merry Christmas Eve. Yes, Merry Christmas. She was already shrugging off her coat, revealing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. We need to talk about next week. It's important. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs. The way Mom suddenly busied herself in the kitchen. The way Dad found an urgent need to check the outdoor lights. The way even Donovan ended his call and watched us with unusual interest. But I was too caught up in the warmth of family Christmas to notice the trap being set. I'm sorry. What? I nearly dropped my wine glass, the red liquid sloshing dangerously close to the rim. You're asking me to watch 3 kids for 10 days with zero notice? Not asking. Cordelia smiled that practiced smile she used on difficult clients. I'm telling you the plan. Everything's arranged. That's when she produced the folder from her designer bag, thick as a small-town phone book. She flipped it open with the efficiency of someone presenting a business proposal. Laminated schedules in color-coded sections. Medical information with highlighted allergies and medications. School drop-off maps with alternate routes in case of traffic. Dietary restrictions for Jasmine's severe nut allergy. Rowan's therapy appointments every Tuesday and Thursday. Sage's nap schedule down to the minute. You made a binder? I stared at the thing in disbelief. How long have you been planning this? The retreat came up suddenly, but I like to be prepared, she said, deliberately not answering my question. Look, I even included their favorite bedtime stories and the Netflix passwords. Cordelia, I have 3 client deadlines next week. The Morrison rebrand alone is worth $5,000. I cannot just drop everything. You work from home. she said, waving her manicured hand dismissively. You can work while they're at school. Jasmine's in class until 3. Rowan gets out at 2:30. The baby naps twice a day. You'll have plenty of time. Do you hear yourself right now? I stood up, still holding Sage, who grabbed at my necklace. You think I can complete professional design work while managing your 3 children's schedules? Donovan appeared in the doorway, checking his Rolex with obvious impatience. Babe, we need to pack. Flight's at 6 a.m. The car service will be here at 4. You haven't even packed? I turned to him. You're leaving in less than 12 hours and you haven't packed? We've been busy, he said curtly. Some of us have real jobs with actual demands. The words hit exactly where he'd aimed them. My face burned hot. Excuse me? He didn't mean it like that, Cordelia said quickly, though she didn't quite meet my eyes. He just means we've had a lot going on. The Peterson estate closing, the Henderson Group merger. You know how it is. No, I don't know how it is, I said slowly, because apparently my work isn't real enough to understand. I looked at my parents for support. Mom was vigorously stirring something on the stove that didn't need stirring. Dad cleared his throat, that nervous sound he made when the girls were fighting and he didn't know whose side to take. Now, girls, let's discuss this calmly, he said, using his mediator voice. There's nothing to discuss, I said firmly, my voice stronger than I felt. I cannot watch your children for 10 days with no warning. I have a life, Cordelia. I have work commitments. I have plans. Plans? Cordelia laughed. Actually laughed. What plans? Sitting in your apartment designing logos? The room went silent. Even the kids in the living room stopped playing, sensing the shift in energy. Jasmine appeared in the doorway, her young face creased with worry. Why is everyone upset? She asked quietly. No one's upset, sweetheart, Cordelia said, switching instantly to mom mode. Aunt Felicity and I are just talking about next week. Are we going to Aunt Felicity's apartment? Rowan joined his sister, bouncing with excitement. She has the cool drawing tablet. That's the plan, Cordelia said, looking directly at me, challenge clear in her eyes. Cordelia started crying, those perfectly timed tears she'd perfected since childhood. They appeared instantly, like she had a switch somewhere. Not the ugly crying that real pain brings, but delicate drops that somehow never smudged her mascara. I never ask you for anything, she said, her voice trembling with practiced hurt. You live your simple little life while I juggle everything. A business, a marriage, 3 children. One time I need support, and you abandon me. Abandon you? I stood up straighter, Sage still on my hip. You planned a vacation and expected me to drop everything. That's not an emergency, that's entitlement. We're not going on vacation, Donovan interjected, his tone condescending. This is a business retreat. There will be CEOs there, venture capitalists, people who matter. And I don't? The words came out sharper than intended. Then Cordelia played her card, the one I should have seen coming. Fine. Kids, come here. 9-year-old Jasmine walked over, slowly, her emotional intelligence already reading the room. Rowan followed, confused but trusting. Cordelia knelt down, pulling them close in a move that looked rehearsed. Aunt Felicity doesn't want to spend time with you guys, she said, her voice dripping with disappointment. Mommy and Daddy will have to cancel our important trip. Jasmine's face fell, her eyes immediately filling with tears. Did we do something wrong? Aunt Felicity, are you mad at us? No, sweetie, I said quickly, my heart breaking at her expression. This is between adults. You haven't done anything wrong. Between selfish adults? Cordelia muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Mom, why can't we stay with Aunt Felicity? Rowan asked. She always lets us make cookies and we watch movies, and she doesn't make us eat the gross vegetables. Because Aunt Felicity is too busy, Cordelia said, standing up and smoothing her dress. Her work is more important than family. That's when something snapped in me. Years of being the understanding sister, the flexible one, the one who rearranged her life to accommodate everyone else's needs. All of it crystallized into perfect clarity. You know what? You're absolutely right, I said, my voice calm and clear. I am being selfish. Selfish with my time, my energy, and my boundaries. And that's perfectly okay. The room went quiet. Mom actually stopped pretending to cook. Dad put down his coffee cup. I'm 28 years old, I continued, feeling power in my words. I run a successful business that I built from nothing. I pay my own bills, manage my own time, and yes, I choose my own priorities. That's not selfish. That's being an adult. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts with purpose. Let me call Heather. Remember her? Your college roommate whose wedding you skipped because it conflicted with a showing? She runs a nanny service now. Emergency holiday rates are triple, but hey, that's still less than your $15,000 retreat. Cordelia's face went pale beneath her foundation. You wouldn't dare. Or there's TaskRabbit, I continued, already pulling up the app. Or Care.com. Or literally any professional service that you could have booked weeks ago when you first knew about this retreat. Stop being dramatic, Donovan said, but his voice had lost its earlier confidence. Dramatic? I laughed, actually laughed. I'm offering practical solutions. Watch this. I hit dial on Heather's number, putting it on speaker. It rang once, twice. Hello? Heather's cheerful voice filled the room. Hi, Heather. It's Felicity. Yes, Cordelia's sister. I'm actually here with her now, and she needs emergency childcare starting tomorrow morning. Stop. Cordelia grabbed my phone, her manicured nails scratching my hand as she yanked it away. Fine. We'll figure it out ourselves. She ended the call with shaking fingers, her composed mask finally cracking. The whole family stood frozen, watching her unravel in real time. This was Cordelia without her armor, without her perfect planning, without control. Actually, Dad stood up, surprising everyone with the firmness in his voice. I have something to say. He walked over to the mantel with purpose, reaching behind the antique clock for an envelope I hadn't noticed before. The red, urgent stamp across it was visible even from where I stood. His hands were steady as he carried it back, but something in his expression made my stomach drop. Cordelia, Donovan, this came for you yesterday. Registered mail. They tried your house first, but when no one answered, they brought it here. Donovan went white, whiter than I'd ever seen him. How did they get this address? It's listed as your emergency contact with the office, Dad said quietly. I signed for it. You opened our mail? Cordelia snatched the envelope, but it was still sealed. No, but I recognized the sender. Dad's voice was grave. Henderson Group. Isn't that who's hosting your retreat? Cordelia tore open the envelope with trembling fingers, pulling out several official-looking documents. As her eyes scanned the first page, her face crumbled like wet sand. The papers slipped from her fingers, floating to the floor like dead leaves. It's from the retreat, she whispered. They're canceling. Some issue with permits and a federal investigation. What? Donovan scrambled for the papers, reading frantically. This can't be right. I spoke to them last week. His phone rang at that moment, sharp and jarring in the quiet room. He answered on speaker without thinking, his assistant's panicked voice filling the space. Mr. Donovan, thank God I reached you. Don't go to the airport tomorrow. The Henderson Group retreat is canceled. Worse, the FBI just released a statement. It was a scam. The whole company is fake. They're investigating fraud and money laundering. Several investors already filed police reports. The phone slipped from his hand, clattering on the hardwood floor. $15,000. Cordelia sank into the couch, her perfect posture finally breaking. We sent them $15,000. Which you'll get back if it's fraud, I said, not unkindly, though my mind was spinning. But imagine if I'd said yes? You would have left for the airport at 4 a.m., I would have been stuck with the kids, and you'd have arrived to nothing. No retreat, no hotel, no anything. Mom gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Oh my God, you would have been stranded at the airport on the day after Christmas with no plans. But Felicity was going to watch us. Rowan piped up innocently from where he'd been quietly listening. Mom already packed our bags. They're in the car. She said we're staying at Aunt Felicity's for a big adventure. Everyone turned to look at Cordelia. The truth hung in the air like smoke from a snuffed candle. You packed their bags? I asked quietly, each word deliberate. Before even asking me? Jasmine, wise beyond her 9 years, looked at her mother with an expression I'd never seen on her young face. Disappointment mixed with understanding. You lied? She asked simply. You told us Aunt Felicity promised. You said she was excited to have us. The silence that followed was deafening. Even baby Sage seemed to sense the gravity, stopping her babbling to look around at the adults with wide eyes. The rest of Christmas dinner was subdued, like eating in a museum after closing time. Cordelia and Donovan left early, mumbling about needing to contact banks and file fraud reports. They loaded 3 confused children into their Mercedes, bags still packed in the trunk like evidence of their assumptions. Jasmine hugged me extra tight before leaving, whispering, I knew you didn't hate us, into my ear. Mom and Dad suddenly found themselves very available to help with grandchildren. Funny how schedules clear when guilt settles in like snow. Mom even offered to cancel their trip to Aunt Bethany's, but I told her that wasn't necessary. The crisis had passed, even if the aftershocks hadn't. 3 days later, my phone rang at 7 in the morning. Cordelia's name on the screen made my coffee taste bitter before I even answered. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, she started, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. I'm listening, I said, because despite everything, she was still my sister. What followed wasn't quite an apology, but it was close. She talked about the pressure of maintaining perfection, the exhaustion of keeping up with other suburban families, the constant fear that she wasn't doing enough, being enough, achieving enough. Donovan's career demands, the kids' schedules, the house that needed renovating, the social obligations that felt like a second job. I look at your life, and it seems so free, she admitted. You wake up when you want. Work in pajamas, take random afternoons off. I haven't had a day to myself in 9 years. My freedom isn't accidental, Cordelia. I chose it. I sacrificed other things for it, just like you chose your life. I love my life, she said quickly. Then, quieter, most days. I love you, I told her, meaning it completely. But loving you doesn't mean I have to sacrifice myself for your choices. You need to stop seeing my different life as less valuable than yours. My clients aren't little projects. My apartment isn't sad because it's small. My time isn't free because I work from home. She was quiet for so long I thought she'd hung up. Then, the kids keep asking if you hate them now. Jasmine won't eat. She thinks she ruined Christmas. Never. Tell them I'm taking them to the arcade this Saturday. Just them and me. We'll get pizza, play games until we run out of quarters, and I'll bring them home sugar-crashed and happy. Really? Really? But we're planning it together, like adults who respect each other. You'll ask me if I'm available. I'll check my schedule. We'll agree on times. No assumptions, no ambushes. Okay, she whispered. Okay. 2 months later, Cordelia hired a live-in nanny named Patricia, a grandmother from Ecuador with 30 years of experience and excellent references. A real contract, proper pay, paid vacation days. She also started therapy, though she'd never admit the connection to Christmas. She called it executive coaching, but I knew better. As for me, I learned that no is a complete sentence. That family love shouldn't come with automatic exploitation. That boundaries aren't about keeping people out, but about teaching them how to properly be let in. And sometimes, the universe intervenes before you make a terrible mistake, sending fraud investigations like guardian angels wrapped in federal statutes. The next Christmas, Cordelia gave me a gift that made me cry. A framed photo of me with the kids at the arcade, all of us covered in prize tickets and grinning like maniacs. The card read simply, "Thank you for teaching me boundaries. And for loving us anyway." I kept both. The photo sits on my desk where clients can see it during video calls. The card lives in my jewelry box, next to Mom's wedding ring and other things too precious for everyday display.